Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca, and thank you for joining me for this first of our yoga videos from the holiday season. In this video, we will be stretching and strengthening the muscles of the outer hip. So we'll be using some seated and some standing poses to get into those muscles. You might like to have a block or a strap handy, so gather what you need, and I'll see you on the mat. We are going to settle in on our backs today. So when you're ready, you can bring yourself down to Shavasana and just stretch yourself out long. Of course, you can always take Shavasana on your side or in any other position that appeals to you. And we're just going to take a moment to allow ourselves to get centered and relax. Begin by smoothing out your breath. And then on your own, just take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel your lungs expand fully inside your rib cage. Feel how even your lungs can stretch as you inhale deeply all the way down to the bottom of the lungs. And then just observe the small magic of the fact that all it takes is these 3 breaths to begin to center and settle you in your body. Feel your shoulders soften. And draw your attention to the palms of your hands. Allow your fingers to gently curl. And your feet to relax away from each other. And now that we've brought ourselves fully into the body, we'll begin with a little movement. Just begin with a nice inhale. And then as you're exhaling, take your gaze over one shoulder. Inhaling back through center and exhaling over the other shoulder. Continuing this motion, just sort of giving yourself a little massage in the back of the skull. So you bring a little range of motion into the neck. Our ability to twist and look over a shoulder is an important part of our day most of the time. Just inviting in this small movement. And then when you're ready, you can bring that to stillness and the head back to center. And then you can just bring the hands up, do a few circles with the wrists here. You might let the feet join in, circling through the wrists and ankles. Just waking the body up. And then allow that to come to stillness. And bring your awareness to the belly now, really engaging that belly button up and in. And as you do that, feel how that flattens out that little curve in your spine just a little. And now feeling each motion very mindfully, begin to raise one knee into the chest, feeling all the little muscles that you have to engage along the way. And once you've brought in one knee, do the same thing with the other knee. And once you've brought both knees into the chest, tuck the chin just slightly to make the back of the neck nice and long. And then either taking your hands underneath your knees or to the tops of your shins, just pull the knees into the chest, feeling that stretch through the lower back, maybe rocking slightly side to side. And give yourself a little smile. Nice deep breath. And exhale. And we'll release the shins and take the hands to the tops of the knees here, coming into some circles with the hips. So we'll begin by opening the knees away from each other. And find your breath here in this circle with the knees. Find the place where your inhale and your exhale naturally occur. And bring your awareness back to your belly button, pulling that belly button in and up to support the spine. And then taking this motion in the other direction. And we'll bring this to stillness. And then keeping the knees together, we'll make some small circles to one side. And feel how that brings that little back massage into the hips as well as your body naturally tilts side to side just a bit. And then take that circle in the other direction. Still just observing how your breath naturally occurs. Your inhale naturally happens in one place and the exhale in another place. And then we'll let this come to stillness. Flexing through the feet now, bringing the toes back towards the face. Take the hands around one shin, pulling that knee in as we extend through the other heel, pressing out through the heel. And then switching legs. Flowing this motion also with your breath. And just notice whatever may be going on within your mind right now. Maybe you're feeling restless, or maybe you're feeling settled. Perhaps you're thinking about what comes next in your day. Whatever's there, just notice. Just notice and allow the thoughts to come and go. And then bring both knees back into the chest. We're going to allow the soles of the feet to come down to the floor. And here you can pick up your strap if you like. And if you're using the strap, we'll take that around the ball of the right foot. Or you can just take your hands to the sides of the right calf. And we're going to walk the fingers up the calf or the strap, and then just allow the shoulders to relax, bringing a stretch into the back of the hamstring. This being one of our first stretches today, you can keep your knee just as bent as you need for it to be to make this accessible for your body. We're just looking for sensation down the back of the hamstring, so no particular shape here. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. And as you inhale, you might gently tug a little more on the strap. And exhale, release slightly. Flowing very minutely with this movement. Inhale to deepen. Exhale, release. Inhale, deepen. Exhale, release. Nice. We'll take the strap in both sides of the strap in one hand, extend the other leg out long, and then actually we're going to switch hands, taking the strap into the opposite hand, extending the arm long along the floor. And this time as we're exhaling, we're going to go ahead and roll over, bringing the leg all the way across the body, stretching through the outside of the leg. And if you need to bend the knee here, take good care of your body. So we're feeling a deep stretch in the hamstring, all the way into the place where those muscles connect to the bones, and a stretch along the outer thigh as well. And then we'll inhale to bring the leg back upright, bringing the sole of the foot to the floor and switching to the other leg. And then just once again, walking those fingertips up the strap or up the calf, allowing yourself to bend that knee as much as you need to. And if you like to bring in that stretch and release, you can begin to inhale to deepen and exhale to release. Just bring some awareness here into what your other leg is doing, keeping that knee shining straight forward. And last time, if you're doing that, deepen and release. And then we'll take both straps in the opposite hand, extending that leg long along the floor, opening the arm out to the side, and then rolling over, bringing the leg all the way across the body. Feet are still nice and flexed here. Deep breaths for a deep stretch. Good. Inhaling that leg back up overhead. And we'll release the foot from the strap. Bring the knees back into the chest and find any little natural movement here that feels good for you. So from here, we're going to come up to seated. So you have your choice. You can roll to one side and press yourself up to a seated position,
If you'd like to have a little back massage, you can take your hands behind your knees and just begin to rock and roll a little up the length of your spine until you come up to a seated position. And from here, we're going to move into tabletop. So just moving the legs out to the side. Boogie there however you like. And we'll bring ourselves into our tabletop and just come into some cat-cow this morning. Sinking the belly down. Exhaling, pressing the mat away. Starting the movement with the breath, following with the tailbone, and then allowing the rest of the body to follow suit. And then we'll bring that to stillness. We'll take the big toes to touch, opening the knees out wide on the mat. Nice big deep breath here. And then exhale, shifting the hips back, stretching the hands out. Wide leg child's pose. And really get into this pose, stretching into all the corners of your own body, snuggling down, finding your way to a place that's comfortable. Maybe your hips are low or maybe your hips are high. Just the miracle of being able to get up and down from the floor is sometimes enough to be grateful for. We're going to add a little shoulder stretch here. So we'll press into the palms as we inhale up slightly, and we'll take the left hand and thread it underneath the right, shifting the hips back into our wide leg child's pose. So stretching to the outside of the shoulder here. Letting this pose do its magic on the lower back. Couple of deep breaths. And then we'll inhale once again to rise slightly. And then take the right hand underneath the left. Pressing into the left palm, inhaling to come up. Bringing the right hand back out next to the left. We'll roll the toes under and shift the hips up. Downward facing dog. Keeping those knees nice and bent. Making that nice straight line from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. And then beginning to just pedal through the legs. Fingertips are nice and wide. The base of the finger, where the finger meets the palm, is pressing into the mat. And then gripping slightly with the fingertips to bring that little cup underneath the palm. And just continuing to pedal out here. Going as slowly as you like. Nowhere to go. Nowhere but here. And then we'll inhale up to the toes. Exhale, relaxing the heels down towards the mat. And then bending the knees generously, we'll look forward and walk up to the top of the mat. Coming to our forward fold. Just finding your own natural style here. Maybe you like to walk the fingertips from side to side or come into a ragdoll. Your choice. Nice big deep breath. And then we'll slowly inhale up to stand with a flat back. Reaching the fingertips up overhead, maybe allowing the gaze to follow if that feels good for the back of your neck. And then bringing the hands to meet overhead. We'll exhale, bringing the hands to heart center. And just taking a moment here in our equal standing pose or samastiti, just to breathe. Rolling the shoulders onto the back. And then when you're ready, allow the fingertips to fall and then sweep up overhead. Exhale, coming back into our forward fold. We'll inhale to come up halfway, bringing the hands to the shins or even the thighs here. And the purpose of this motion is to really feel that extension of the spine. So imagine that there's an apple right underneath your belly button. And as you come into your forward fold, you're going to extend out over the apple and then come back, forward fold. From here, we'll take a nice big step back with the left leg. Exhaling as we come into a lunge on the right side. Shifting the gaze forward. Planting the hands, coming back to half plank. You can take a full plank if you like. And then pulling the elbows into the sides of the body. We'll exhale, coming down slowly. Once you found your way to the floor, tops of the feet come to the mat. Keeping those elbows pulling back, inhaling up, baby cobra, using those back muscles. Exhale to release. Inhaling back up to plank or half plank. And exhale, downward facing dog or even child's pose here if you like. We'll inhale to bring the left leg forward, coming into a lunge on the left side this time. Shining the chest forward. And then inhaling the back foot to the front, coming up halfway again, feeling that nice long extension. And then sinking back down over the legs, forward fold. Inhale up to stand with a flat back. Hands come down through heart center, all the way down, forward fold. Nice and slow here. Inhale up, halfway. Exhale, release. Planting both hands, stepping back with the right leg this time. Exhale, opening the chest towards the front, taking that knee right over the ankle. Planting both hands, coming back to plank or half plank. And then if you like, coming down to the belly, you can always go straight to down dog or child's pose. Inhale up, baby cobra. Exhale to release. Inhale back to plank or half plank. Exhale, downward dog. Inhaling the right leg forward, doing whatever you need to get the leg where it needs to be. Opening the chest, right lunge. And then stepping the left foot to the front. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up to stand. Hands come to heart center. Deep breath, making that ujjayi breath, that breath you can hear in the back of your throat. And then once again, sweeping the arms up overhead. Exhale, come down, forward fold. Stepping back to downward facing dog. And taking a few deep breaths here. Imagining the weight of the body moving back towards the heels. Not really being concerned about whether or not the heels meet the mat, but just weighting back into the heels energetically. And then we'll inhale to lift the right leg. Exhale as we bring that right knee through, coming into our right lunge. And from here, planting the left hand into the mat, we'll inhale open, coming into a twist. And you can keep the gaze straight forward or take it up towards the thumb, whatever suits you best. And then we'll exhale, allowing that arm to come down. We'll take this right leg back and come into a plank pose. So you can come into a full plank here or a half plank, up to you. And then from wherever you are in this plank pose, just take a moment to settle in. Allow the hips to drop slightly and draw the front body into the back body. Welcome the little shake and tremble here. That feeling that allows you to know the miracle of the fact that you're alive. And then we're going to take the left knee and drop it down to the mat. We're going to allow that leg to come out to the side like a kickstand as we open up through the top arm, coming into a supported side plank here. And take just a moment to check in with your alignment, making sure that the wrist is right under the shoulder. And then see if you can get your upper arm also to be right in alignment with the bottom hand. Good. And allow that top arm to windmill back around. Come back into our plank or half plank here. And then switch into downward dog. And if you'd like to come to a child's pose here instead, that's also an option. Couple of deep breaths. And then we'll inhale forward, coming back to plank. Pressing evenly into both hands here, remembering that if you're feeling some stress in your wrists, you can always come to a forearm plank here as well. Making that concavity with the heart as we move the heart up through the back of the shoulders, really pressing away from the mat. And then from here, we'll drop that right knee to the mat, bringing that out like a kickstand and opening this left arm up. Supported side plank. Good, allowing that left arm to windmill back around, coming back into our plank or half plank. And then from here, we'll drop the knees, shifting the hips back, coming back into child's pose with the knees close together or far apart, whatever works. Couple of deep breaths. And then using the breath to help us rise up like a wave, we'll come back into our downward facing dog. And shifting the gaze forward, walk or hop back to the top of the mat. And inhale up to stand. Hands come to heart center. Take a moment here to make any adjustments that you might need to make. Or maybe you'd like to make some wrist circles or shake out the legs. And then when you're ready, inhaling the hands back up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. And from here, we'll step back with the left leg this time, taking the left knee down to the mat, left top of the foot pressing into the mat. And allow ourselves to rise up, maybe taking one hand and then the other above the right knee. And once you've found your way here, really see if you can pull back through this right hip as you press forward through the left hip. And then imagine bringing the thighs in together, pulling up through that pelvic floor muscle, really engaging here. Belly button comes into the spine. And if you like, inhaling the arms up overhead. So we're going to come into a twist here. You have your choice. You can take one hand to the knee and one to the hip, staying upright, or you can bring your hands to heart center and come into a prayer twist. Just finding what suits you here. And if you like, you want to bring another little element into your practice, you can curl those left toes under in the back and shift yourself up into a high lunge, bringing that left knee up from the floor. And then when you're ready, inhale back to center. And we're going to allow that left heel to drop down to the mat as we open up into Warrior Two. So take a little time here, checking in with your alignment, rolling the shoulders onto the back, taking that gaze over the front fingertips. Maybe bringing the shoulders back over the pelvis. Most of the time we're shifted a little forward. So really bring that shoulder back. And then we'll extend through the front leg. And here, if you have a block handy and you'd like to bring that in for triangle, you can bring your block behind your foot here. So extending through the front leg, arms are out side to side. We'll shift the hips over towards the left as we really reach out through that right hand and allow that hand to come down to rest on the block, the shin, or the floor. Coming into our triangle pose. And gaze can stay straight forward or up towards the thumb. Your choice. And then engaging everything, we'll rise up from our triangle. And then on an exhale, come back into our Warrior Two. And then allow that left arm to windmill around, coming back to frame our front foot. And taking the right foot to the back, downward facing dog. Bending the knees, we'll shift the gaze forward and walk or hop up to the top of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale up to stand. Hands come to heart center. Taking just a brief moment here to notice. And then allowing the fingertips to sweep down, hands come up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Stepping back, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Give yourself a little smile. And then inhaling up through the left leg, we'll exhale, bringing that left leg into a lunge. Dropping the right knee to the mat this time. Top of the right foot comes down to the mat. And allowing ourselves to come up. Squaring the hips. Inhaling the arms up overhead, if you like. Reaching out through the fingertips. Engaging the thighs in towards each other. And then on your next exhale, coming into your version of this twist. Staying upright, or coming into a prayer twist. Either way, dialing the center of the chest, open to the side. And if you like to bring this into a high lunge, turning those toes under in the back and shifting up off of the knee. And then when you're ready, opening this up, warrior two, doing whatever you need to do to make your stance comfortable. Deepening into that front knee. Just take a moment here to check in with that front foot, making sure your alignment's correct and the knee is pulling back so that you can see your big toe. And if you like to bring your block in here for triangle, you can do that now. We'll extend through that left knee this time, shifting the hips out to the right, and then dropping that left hand down, coming into triangle. Really pressing into the outer edge of that back foot, feeling that extension through the side body. And then when you're ready, engaging everything, inhaling as we come up from triangle. Bring the arms back to parallel, exhale, back into warrior two. And then windmilling that back arm around, coming back to frame our left foot. Pressing into both palms here, shifting that left foot back, coming back, downward facing dog. Nice deep breath. And then looking forward, walk or hop to the top of the mat. Coming into downward dog. And then inhaling up to stand with a flat back. Hands come to heart center. Good. All right. So from here, we're going to take this into warrior one. So find your way back to the top of your mat. Maybe take a moment just to take any motion here that feels good. Maybe going from side to side a little, or wiggling the legs. We're going to bring the hands to the hips here. And I want you to see if you can find the very top of your hip bone. So once you've found that, really hug the top of your hip bone with this part of your hand. So almost cradling the top of that hip bone with your hand. Then roll the shoulders onto the back, bringing the elbows towards each other, really opening up through the chest here, maybe even allowing the chin to rise slightly, and really pulling the belly button up and in. And now keeping this engagement, take a nice big step back with the right leg. Now you want your stance to be short enough that you can press that back heel to the floor. But ironically, the longer you take this pose, the more balanced you'll be. So see if you can find that place where the stance is long enough, but you can still reach the heel down to the floor. And make that back leg nice and solid. And then from here, inhale the arms up overhead, reaching out through the fingertips, allowing the pinky fingers to rotate around towards each other, pressing forward through the right hip, back through the left hip, bringing that left knee right over the left ankle. Now we're going to open this pose to the side for a twist. So you're twisting towards the left, hands come down halfway. And then allow that back arm to windmill around, coming back up to center. And then we'll extend through the front leg, exhaling to bring the hands around behind. You can bump those fists together here if you like, opening through the shoulders, pressing out through both feet. Inhaling here, opening the chest. Exhale, allowing yourself to tilt forward. Coming forward any amount, bending that front knee slightly if you need to. Pyramid pose. And see if you can pull that left hip back just a little more, sinking that right hip forward. Gaze is coming to the big toe. And then when you're ready, slowly inhale back up. Allow the arms to sweep back up overhead as we come back into our warrior one. Nice big inhale here. And then as you're exhaling, allow the arms to fall, stepping forward, shaking out your legs if you need to. And finding our foundation again, shoulders coming onto the back, finding the top of the hip bones. And stepping back with the left foot. Left foot turned out at a little bit of an angle. Pressing strongly into that back heel. Left hip comes forward, right hip comes back. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Really, really reaching up with the fingertips as we ground down with the feet, lifting that pelvic floor muscle, pulling the belly button in, and then exhaling, open to the side. Arms come down halfway. And then allowing that back hand to windmill around, coming back up overhead, warrior one. Extending through the front leg, swimming the hands around behind. And then allowing the center of the chest to sink forward. Little micro bend in that front knee. Taking the gaze to the big toe. Moving that left hip forward just a little more as we pull just a little more back through the right hip. Nice straight spine here. Remembering that keeping the spine straight is more important than how far forward you are hinging in this position. Nice big inhale here. And then as we're exhaling, slowly rise. And then allow that front knee to bend. Inhaling the arms up overhead, warrior one. And on your next exhale, allowing the arms to come down, stepping forward on your mat and finding that little natural movement. Good. All right. Inhaling the arms up overhead. We'll exhale. Bring the hands to heart center. Just taking a short moment here to reflect. And then we're going to take a big step back with either the right or the left foot, doesn't really matter. Just coming into a wide leg stance on your mat. So bringing the feet to parallel, weight is pressing out through the outer edges of the feet. We'll roll the shoulders onto the back and bring the hands back to the hip crease. So now this is the place where the leg meets the body, not the top of the hip bone, but where the leg meets the body, because this is where we want to hinge. So shoulders on the back, and as we begin to exhale, slowly tilting forward, keeping the knees slightly bent and the kneecaps lifted, coming down halfway. And just allow yourself to stay here for just a moment, feeling all the engagement of the muscles that's required to keep your body here. And then when you're ready, continue your journey, coming down and bringing your hands to the mat or to your shins or to a block. And just allow yourself to shake your head yes and no. Maybe move it side to side. We're going to take the right hand over towards the left shin. And then inhale, open with the left hand coming into a wide leg twist. Allow the neck to stay relaxed. And then exhale that left hand down to the mat. Switch over to the other side. Inhaling, open. Neck is relaxed. And allowing the hand to come back down to the mat. We'll inhale to come up halfway. And then exhale, releasing back into the fold. And if you'd like to widen your stance slightly here, if that's accessible to you, you may. Maybe bringing the crown of the head closer to the floor or taking a block underneath the crown of the head. Couple of deep breaths. Bring the focus back to the breath. And then inhaling up halfway. Once again to release, we'll begin to walk the feet in towards each other, heel toe, heel toe. And then keeping the fingertips on the floor here with the feet just slightly wider than hip distance. We'll just allow the hips to begin to sink down here, not coming into a full squat, but simply using this motion to help us get back to seated on our mats. And if you'd like to take a squat here, of course, you can do that. But then when you're ready, coming to a seated position on the mat, bring the soles of the feet together, coming into our Baddha Konasana or butterfly. Just taking a moment here, feeling that stretch through the inner thigh. And then we'll allow that to release, using our hands to help ourselves close our legs. And then extending the legs out long, coming into Dandasana or staff pose. And once you've found your way here, allow yourself to bring your left leg into the chest. I want you to keep your foot about a fist distance away from the leg, so creating just a little bit more space here than usual. Pulling the the right toes in towards the face. We'll open the right arm out to the side. Exhale as we bring that right arm around, allowing the fingertips to swim around behind. So you want a nice straight spine here. So staying up on the fingertips rather than coming to the palm of the hand. And maybe even walking those fingertips a little closer to the back of the hip. Inhaling here to grow tall. Exhale, releasing into the twist. And then inhaling back to center. We'll allow ourselves to cradle this leg like a baby, maybe taking the side of the foot into the crook of the elbow, maybe not. And then just rocking a little through this leg, feeling that stretch through the outer thigh. Extending that left leg back out long next to the right. And then bringing the right leg in, finding that fist width distance between the foot and the leg. Opening up through the left arm. Exhale, bringing that left arm around, swimming the right fingertips around behind. Left toes are staying nice and bright. Nice straight spine here. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, twist. One more time. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale, twist. And inhaling back to center now. We'll cradle that right leg like a baby, maybe bringing the right foot into the crook of the elbow. Hugging the leg into the body. And then allowing that to release. We'll come back to rest on our backs. Hugging the knees back into the chest. And then take just a moment here. This is yogi's choice. What last shape you'd like to take before coming to Shavasana. So maybe today you'd like to come into happy baby, or perhaps a twist would feel good. So coming into the shape of your choice. And bringing your focus back to the breath. And then when you're ready, bringing the knees back into the chest. And then allowing the legs to shift out long. Finding your way into Shavasana. Making yourself nice and comfortable here. Maybe you have a blanket in your space that you'd like to cover up with. Anything to help yourself feel nice and cozy. And once you found your way here, bringing your awareness to all the places where your body touches the floor. And maybe just noticing 3 things that you can feel. Shifting that awareness now and noticing 2 things that you can hear in your space. Maybe a sound that's close by or one that's far away. Or perhaps it's a sound you can hear inside your own body, like your heartbeat. And letting that go. And finally, just bringing your awareness back to the tip of your nose, back to the breath, back to this place where you can feel the breath entering and leaving the body. The miracle of the breath. Begin to call yourself back, wiggling your fingers and toes. Inhale deeply, bringing your hands up overhead. Nice, long, full body stretch. And then rolling to one side, coming back to a seated position. You can keep your eyes closed or your gaze lowered. And I'll end today with a quote that I found on this little piece of scrap paper stuck down in the pocket of a bag of mine. It's by W.B. Yeats, and it says, "The world is full of magic things, patiently waiting for our senses to grow stronger." May you find some magic in your day. Thank you for joining me for this practice, and may your yoga follow you off the mat.